Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Trader's Edge Crypto Live on this beautiful day, July 7th. My name is Lawton Ho, and I'm joined by
Benjamin Tool, what's up?
And Drew Dosek. What's going on, folks? Hope you guys are doing well.
Yeah, and for those of you who are just tuning in, never seen this before, we go live every single Monday from 11:30 to 12:15 to answer your questions and hopefully get some good trading in. If you want to ask questions to us, you can do so exclusively on the Verified Investing homepage website. I also want to mention that we are sponsored by Blofin, Blofin. And that is the official crypto exchange of Verified Investing. So if you want to day trade like us and see the charts the same way we do, go ahead and scroll to the bottom of the Verified Investing home screen, click on Blofin under our sponsors, and then sign up for a bonus. So guys, what's going on? Before I head into any questions, I'm going to wait for a couple more people to come in. Let's go through the charts. Tell me what you guys are seeing. Is there any candidates for potential day trade here?
Well, let me go ahead and share my charts with you real quick. Let's go ahead and remove Drew, add a stage. All right, so Pengu is one that I was looking at. It's down a little bit, 7.69% on the day. As you can see, it's already bounced off this 14,336 level pretty nicely. So if it gets back down close to this level, I may be interested in taking this as a day trade. The other one I was looking at is MOVE. It's had this nice down sloping trend line. So connect this 15,394, hits it again at 15,284, third, fourth, and the fifth time it finally broke out. So this 15,073 level, if it gets back into there, I will look to go long on movement. So that's currently what I'm looking at. Other than that, there's not a lot on the upside. Grass is up, but it's already off of its highs. I think it was 4% off of its highs already. It is consolidating sideways, creating a nice bear flag. So we might have another opportunity to possibly short this thing, but we'll have to wait for additional price action before we can enter this for a short.
Cool.
But other than that, that's what I have. What about you, Drew?
I'm looking at a couple myself, looking at virtual. Virtual, we're going to have to drop about a good 5 to 10% before we start getting interested in getting into a long play for a day trade. So that's going to have to happen really fast. You see, I've got an inclining trend line right here. Current price on that trend line is right around $1.35, and we're at price at $1.50. Notice how we're bear flagging right here on the last few days. So price coming down here, even if we don't get there today for a day trade, this area should provide ample support for a bounce area. Notice this trend line's basically been tagged twice. This would be the third hit should price come down into that $1.35 range and should provide a decent bounce up there on a virtual. I was looking at Ethereum earlier, but I don't like it as much. We did come down. If you look on the 1 minute chart, we are putting an inverse head and shoulders pattern in on Ethereum, retesting the neckline right now. This could be a move up to 254. Or pardon me, 2544, 2544. So it's not going to be a major move up, but albeit it would be a move up. It's just not one that I'm as interested in now. Should that change, I'll let you know. Likely, if that is going to change, we're going to have to see a more significant pierce retest in this 2527 area on Ethereum. But Lawton, you said you had another trend line maybe that you were interested in. Is that right?
Yeah, if you and I'll let you show it on your charts because my charts aren't pulled up. Right, go to the 1 minute and you see those pivot lows on the left hand side of your screen in the middle towards. So draw a trend line from there, from the lows there. You're right there. Yep, the lows there, and pull it down through those lows. Keep going down those two pivots.
Yeah,
it's perfectly bounced off of that line two, almost 3 or 4 times. So that level could provide some additional level of support for Ethereum. Another thing about that, though, is if price were to get down and hit that trend line again, that would negate your kind of inverse head and shoulders, right? Because it would just go lower. So that's another thing to take note of. But that's what I was looking at on Ethereum.
Gotcha. The thing about this chart, folks, and here I'll zoom back out to the daily time frame so you can see my analysis on Ethereum. And I've got a couple lines in here mainly just for day trading today. But you see here, Ethereum is in an inverse head and shoulders pattern. And really, this has been bullish consolidation for the past couple months on Ethereum. Ethereum has been performing well, but then the likelihood for price to move higher, actually probabilities dictate we should be moving higher on Ethereum in the near to midterm with this pattern that's displayed here on the chart. First resistance at $3,000, but we have a measured move all the way up here to $4,100 on Ethereum if we can get above this declining trend line right here and stay up there. So that's definitely on watch. Bitcoin, just to revisit where we're at here with Bitcoin, you see we're putting in some bullish consolidation, all right on this declining trend line right here. And price has been fighting to get above this 50% area, this parallel that we're in. If I scroll back out on the chart, you can see here, this parallel has been established since November of last year. And price here is just really struggling to get over that 50% area and this declining trend line. We'll see where price closes out today, but upside on Bitcoin, most immediate future, 115,000. But we'll see if we can't get out of this formation for that move to occur in the coming days. Anything
Cool.
You, Ben?
Yeah, I'm actually looking at grass again. So here's my chart. So you've got this beautiful 10-minute topping tail. Looks like you've got this upsloping trend line. If we switch to the 1 minute, it's a pretty nice upsloping trend line. Looks like we're trying to break below it. Let's get rid of the VWAP right here. So if we start to consolidate a little bit more or head up to the 12366 level, at the 12366 level, I will institute a short on GRASS. So that's what I'm looking at doing, GRASS at 12366. I will start shorting that. So,
Cool.
Yep. Nice 10-minute topping tail though.
While we wait to see this trade come and play out, let's hop into some questions if you guys don't mind. Yeah. Again, if you guys at home want to take part and ask questions, you can do so exclusively on the verifiedinvesting.com homepage. Feel free to come in and ask us questions specifically about cryptocurrency. All right, first question. Alex says, hey guys, a quick question about ICP. I'm currently long from $5.74 with a small position. I'd appreciate if you could help identify key price levels for a potential DCA, profit taking, and right now the current levels I have on my radar are 425 as a potential add, and then 631 for potential profit with a final upside profit of $7.11. Would love your thoughts on these key levels. Thanks. That's a lot of numbers I just gave to you guys, and that's what we like. If you would need me to repeat them.
Yeah, let's start with the ticker again.
ICP.
ICP USD.
ICP USD averages 574, looking for an add and TP level. 574. 574 is his average.
5. Oof. Okay.
Small position, he said, and he thought a good place to add would be around 425, but wants a second opinion.
Let's look on the daily charts, the daily douche around June 22nd.
Yeah, so 574. Let's adjust this a little bit. All right, so you're not actually too far out of the money on ICP, right? 18%. It's not huge as far as the price action. You have this bullish consolidation. So you've got this nice red bar candle followed by a green bar candle that closed above this wick, and then this sideways consolidation. So overall, it actually looks like a pretty good chart setup. And then if you take this down sloping trend line right here, see all these pivots, it hit 2, 3, this fourth hit finally broke. It almost retraces scene of the crime. So probabilities do dictate that there is further upside in ICP. The only thing we got to worry about is what happens to Bitcoin, right? So if Bitcoin, that Drew had this nice down sloping trend line, if we can bust above that down sloping trend line and hit that 115,000 as Drew was anticipating, or the upside possible target where there's additional resistance, it's going to bring all these altcoins up as well. Right now, ICP is still trading towards the lows back in April. And so for me, yes, it absolutely favors a move to the upside. What do you get, Drew?
I agree with Ben. I agree with you, Ben. I have just maybe an ad level for him too.
Yep,
to throw
that's
out
what
there.
he's looking for. Yep.
Yeah, you can see I've got this is the daily chart, and I took a pivot, this pivot low. I didn't take the ultimate low right here, which I could do that too, but I like this level right here, this low from October of 2023, and I strung that over to this next pivot low that occurred in April 7th of 2025. Notice how that corresponds with the Pierce on Sunday, June 22nd, and then the price ever so slightly goes up. So the double bottom that you most recently experienced in June is going to be a support level, but it very well may not get there. We may just get slightly above it at $4.40. You can see right there on my screen. This is an inclining trend line. So the longer and more days it takes for price to get down to it, the price of this trend line will increase. If I flip down to the hourly time frame, just to kind of give you a little bit closer of an estimate on price, we're now under $4.40 here within the next couple days. So right around the 440 to 445 zone, depending upon what time it takes for price to get there, that should be a great support zone for ICP should price come back down further there.
Cool. Thank you guys. Hopefully that helped you, Alex, and thank you for such a great question.
Yeah, thanks, Alex.
And I will say though, this is not financial advice. Please make sure that you're doing on your own technical analysis. We are just highlighting what the charts are telling us. There's no guarantees when we're giving you guys this information. So please do your own research.
Yeah, technical analysis is very, very powerful and works more often than not. But there's times where, perfect setup does fail. So that's very important to note there, Ben. Nothing's guaranteed in trading or investing, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And if somebody wanted to learn more about that, where could they do that? How could they do that? You guys think there are any resources available for that?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got tons of resources here for us on our website on verifiedinvesting.com. Go to the education tab. We've got several different courses that can help you understand the flow of price and pattern and time. Each one of the courses, depending upon what you're wanting to do, whether it's day trading, 1 minute scalpel, the Winning Trader series really encompasses everything. We got the sleeper hold that does more focus on time counts, support and resistance trend lines and setups for potential reversal patterns on charts. And we have new educational videos coming out nearly every other month or so. So utilize our main page too. We've got a boatload of data on our main page that helps investors determine which stocks to get into, what momentum's happening. It has financial reports. Our main page is really a wealth of information to visit. Even if you're not part of any service, there's just so much information that's available there to any investor. It's really a great tool to have.
Yep. And we have a bunch of free stuff as well. All right. Next question. And again, guys, for the new 600
is today the last day for the Blowfin rewards and stuff?
It might be. Yeah, guys, if you want to capitalize on a bonus, right? So you can sign up for Blowfin using our code. I'm just trying to pull that up now. Do you have a code?
Yeah, I think it extends through today. So if you guys are interested, it's just a great way for you guys to deposit money and then get rewarded on your trading. You may actually win prizes based on the amount of trading that you do in your own account. So if you guys have already taken some, if you've already done some technical analysis and you guys are taking trades on your own, might as well get paid for it, right? They'll reward you handsomely for that. So just throwing that out there if you guys are interested.
Yeah, and you can trade with us alongside us, right? So next question, Liam says, Avalanche on the 1 hour chart is close to hitting a third touch of the trend line at $17.82. Further support from the trend line from the June 29th pivot through July 23rd pivot. Additional bear flag on 5-minute chart. How do you guys see it? Is my analysis good? Keep up the good work.
The June 29th through July 3rd?
June 29th through July 3rd. Yeah, pivot. Those pivots.
Okay, so pivot like that. All right, so I suppose it's just an inclining trend line right there on the chart of AVAX. Yeah, that could be a new trajectory. You look here from this low pivot that was placed. We could be forming, you know, a newer wedge pattern on this chart. What I see here, though, for AVAX, it really starts back here. Right here, you see we made a low pivot on the charts. This is an inverse head and shoulders pattern that failed, right? This is the neckline of that inverse head and shoulders pattern. Then we had a head and shoulders pattern that had a measured move target of $16.27. Now, this triggered with this inclining trend line right here. Price came down. Isn't it curious, though? It retested the previous neckline that failed and then got rejected, came down and came and hit this 1627 measured move. So right now we're kind of in a technical bounce phase. If Avalanche does return and have some selling pressure arise, we could be coming down further on this declining trend line that you see here. It has support under $15, currently right around 14.26 under today's price. So that's the declining trend line I would watch for worst case scenario. With the current move up, though, with these sort of moves when they're diagonal, these can exhaust themselves. Even though I do like Avalanche down here, I want to see more consolidation and then a move up to this next resistance at 21.94. But I still do like these trend lines that you've posted. That was the great find because the likelihood price can continue in here is actually high, especially if we don't have some proper consolidation. Say if we just trend up, and then that would likely lead to a little bit more selling and then potentially an attack of that trend line. But I like that trend line. Very nice.
Cool. AKS. Sorry, were you going to say something else, Ben?
Oh, I'm going to remove Drew's and look at mine. I've got a whole bunch of trend lines that almost looks like he stole my my charts.
Star Wars charts right there, my man.
Star Wars charts, baby. There we go. Anyway, I just noticed that and I thought that was funny.
So AKSK's.
We're artists.
AKSK saying, can you please tell me where I should go long on TAO? Thanks.
On Bitsensor?
Bitsensor.
Yeah. You know what? I really kind of like this play where
we can't tell you where to go long on Bitsensor.
Yeah.
Where would you go long on Bitsensor?
Well, that's a different question, right? We're not financial advisors. We just read the charts and we can give them support and resistance levels, but ultimately you guys have to pull the trigger, right?
Yeah.
And it really depends. And I'll go into this. I've said this. What is your position size? Are you looking to day trade this? Are you looking to swing trade this? Are you looking for like a long-term trajectory? You want this? Are you like Drew, who's going to hold on to this for 1.5 to 2 years? Like, what's your overall goal with this, right? So it seems like a very simple question. Where should I go long? But it's really a lot more complicated than that. And it really depends on each individual investor's decision and how they do it. So go ahead, Drew. Now I'll let you have the floor.
No, shoot. That's a perfect way to set the stage because really he hit the nail on the head. It's your investment strategy. Are you trying to treat this buying crypto like a 401k account? Whereas, you know, every month you're allocating a certain amount of dollars to that account. And if so, then you got a hodler long-term perspective, right? You're just going to be gobbling up coins anytime they become on sale. When I look here at the Tau chart, and keep in mind, I run a hodler trading service, so I'm more interested in picking up some of these coins when they dip low. It's almost like the sale tags gets thrown all over the charts for me whenever crypto's under pressure and selling. I'll start picking up different areas. So very similar to Avalanche, though. I've got two great patterns on this chart on Tau. You can see here just recently, I've got this measured move tag of $300.27. Notice price came and tagged that on June 25th. That was from this head and shoulders pattern on Tau. Now, Tau on the larger time frame has an inverse head and shoulders pattern. Right here's the left shoulder. Here's the head. And then here is the right shoulder that has not yet formed. Now, please notate that and take that home. This pattern has not yet triggered. In order for it to trigger, we need price to get above this declining trend line right here on Tau, which is right around 485.20. So now you know the context of where I think potentially price can go. We've already had a move down accomplished with the measured move here. We have a pending inverse head and shoulders potential move up to 811.09, a substantial reward right here if this triggers. It has not yet triggered, so keep that in mind. So with all that being said, I don't think there's anything wrong with picking up any bit of towel where we're at currently to hold for this potential move, because the reward is going to be very substantial. And also considering we're down pretty decently from the 742 high that occurred just this last December. So picking up any little bit down here wouldn't be a bad idea. The next level of support we're going to have is going to be right here, the collection of these pivots. So you can continue to add to the position as something that I plan to do if I'm holding this on the longer term. The only way that this inverse head and shoulders pattern is knocked out is if we have price come down, make a new low beneath this head price point right here, this pivot. So if we come down lower than that, then this whole pattern's off the table. But I really like this pattern because not only is it the potential inverse head and shoulders pattern showing us this target, but we really almost kind of have a cup and handle pattern coming off of this too. Both inverse head and shoulders and cup and handle are bullish patterns on the chart. So that's why I like it. And then lastly, the cherry on top, look at this nice recovery and bullish consolidation from that time frame too. So I'm liking this chart on Tau for potential move higher.
Okay.
What about you, Ben? What do you got to add?
Well, I'm going to ask you a question on this. So you've developed, you've kind of given them an insight a little bit into what strategy you're doing. Now, let's say you do pick it up you got in right now. How would your strategy play? Let's say you never got to add to the position. Are you going to hold it the entire way? Are you going to dollar cost average out and wait for pullbacks? Like, what's the trading strategy that you have developed?
And that's for this coin, because in my hodler service, I really like to target coins that I want to hold that have staking capabilities. This one doesn't. So this is one that I would be more interested in swing trading per se. So you see, I've got here on the charts, if I were to get in right here at this price point, see this declining trend line, I likely would pull some off the table here. And you're saying, well, Drew, wait a second. You said that price has a potential to go up to 811. Well, yes, this is just being a smart investor. Notice this movement. If we were to go up, that's about a 30% gain, 29.3% gain to this declining trend line. I'm going to snag some of that profit, whether that be half of the position or a fraction of the position. I'll decide how price action gets into that area. But then if it gets rejected, I will then isolate down a support area to add back in what I took off there for profit. And then I'll do the same thing at this very next neckline. I'll likely take some off. Price retreats back down to a support area. I'll add back in. And then once this neckline is broken, if we get above and we confirm above, then I'll take some off the table again and then buy back when price comes down to that trend line and then hold all the way up here to 811.09. So it is a dance. I know I mentioned this earlier in the morning for the live day trading room with Gareth was talking about one of these trades about in and out and holding a little bit and then getting rid of some. And it really is a dance. Once you start to understand the technical levels on charts, you can use those to your advantage and use those as areas to get out, reduce risk, and then start adding in at support so that you bring that average down, collect the profits, and then capitalize on the movement up. So it's really an art form figuring this out and then executing at the proper times.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I said, it's not just as easy as just saying, hey, where should I buy Tau?
Yeah,
it's really not.
Yeah.
So,
that's even with me with the hodler mentality, you're exactly right. Like, look, I was talking about swinging it. So you're exactly right.
And you're still not going in with a full position.
Correct.
You're giving yourself an opportunity. Okay, so this is a great support level. If it drops a little bit more, I'm going to add a little bit more. And then if it drops a little bit more, I'll add a little bit more. Working that average price down and then wait for a bigger move, start averaging out. And that's the dance that you're referring to. So
absolutely. Yep. This is a great question though, Ben. And that's important for everybody to understand that frame of mind too. It's not kind of like a late night infomercial, set it and forget it. Now you can invest like that. But in my strategy with the technicals and what I understand, I'm going to try to get as much money out of it as I possibly can.
Oh, nice. So just a heads up, Grass, GRASS. I was watching it. I was monitoring it. It got up to 122.69. I was looking to enter.
Wow, look at that fall.
A little bit higher. And then all of a sudden, bam. It dropped
3%.
Over 2% in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So Grass is now off of the table. I don't like that chopping tail anymore with this rejection. those of you guys who are a little bit more aggressive, here's a nice upsloping trend line. So you've got this low at 115, another pivot low at 117. And then if you recapture or you capture this upsloping trend line to the downside, you can have a nice fall, could even get back down to 117. But unfortunately, it's off the table for me. So 123.66, I'm not interested anymore.
Phooey. So close.
That's right.
Good shot there, Ben.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, looked good. I was monitoring it.
Yeah, unfortunate.
That was yeah, that was really nice. I mean, we're about halfway through, so I was even gonna throw it to you guys to see if there was any day trades, because again, we're trying to show some live trading.
Yeah. At this moment, I don't really have anything that's going to set us up in the proper probabilities that I see.
No, we need a little bit more volatility in the market.
Yep. And that can kind of be understood too, folks. You know, we are coming off of a holiday weekend here in the United States. I know cryptocurrency is open 24/7, but major institutions, a lot of investors here in the United States are likely not as active today since we are coming off a holiday weekend.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Let's move to the next question then. Okay, this question is specifically for Drew. Paul says, good morning, Drew. On Bitcoin, with the downsloping trend line, does that mean that the line is becoming somewhat weaker?
Yes. Yeah. So good question. And oops. I moved you. There we go. All right. So here on this, and I assume you're talking about this daily declining trend line right here. Since we have closed above it, closed beneath, hit it. Yes, it is becoming weaker. Plus, this 50% area has not been confirmed above with this recent price action. So both of which, though, are getting weaker. Yes, with each repeated attempt, you're exactly correct. So the longer it hangs out here, the more likely it is going to break out and move higher. Cool. That's a good question. And then too, just for the upsides, as I've already notated, this 116,000 above the current daily price, top end of the parallel would be a target. Because see, one thing though to notice how Bitcoin never really, once it's gotten above this 50% area since May, we really haven't hung out there that long. Notice it's just been about a week and then back down, and then 3 or 4 days back down, and then up here just a couple days back down. So there's a lot of sellers still here in Bitcoin. So that's certainly intriguing, considering that if you go back here, we were up above the 50% area for much longer than just 3 or 4 days. It's just a little bit of change of character what's going on right here. Almost like it's trying to sell off, yet it's still putting in a near-term bullish consolidation pattern on the chart. So it still needs to gain momentum to break above and get rid of some of those sellers.
Gotcha. Okay, Jeremy has a question. I'll throw this to Ben. Question says, Jeremy says, I'm long XRP from 224 with 10x leverage. Wondering if I should take profits now, or is there a better exit point? I'm up about 43% right now. So 224 with 10x leverage.
224 with 10x leverage. So I'm not a financial advisor. I can tell you that right now, if you look at my XRP chart, you've got this downsloping trend line. Connects $3.39. Another pivot high, 337. It hit it again, 264. So now it looks like we're possibly breaking out to the upside from this downsloping trend line. So you could always get up to $2.65. So this is another resistance area, another pivot. XRP isn't quite doing this, sharing the same similar patterns as Bitcoin. As you can see, it did have all-time highs, but it hasn't recaptured those. So your next level of resistance is $2.65. If we break above that, then you could go to $2.94. And then your next level of resistance above that is $3.39. So
Okay.
that's it.
All right. Couple more questions here. Jackson saying, "Hi guys, thanks a lot for doing this. It really helps me a lot. I'm looking for a long in Doge. If I draw a declining trend line from the December high to its recent highs or to the recent price, it seems like we're close to breaking a major trend line. What do you think?" So December high to basically, yeah, you can find the trend
Okay,
line.
so
Yeah.
charts are like humans, right? We're emotional and we change based on the information that we have. So I'll take that December high and then I'll take January. So here are a couple different trend lines that we're watching. So this down sloping trend line from January hit in May, this is your next level of resistance. If you can break above this level of resistance, then you can get up to this secondary resistance. The problem is this is the first hit from January, second hit in May. So this would be the third hit. So as we know, well, I don't know if you guys know, but we as technical traders know that the third hit is usually the most powerful one. So it's likely that you're going to get rejected and then can go all the way back down to this double bottom. And then what we'd want to do is take a trend line. Let's see about this low pivot. So as long as we're inside of this wedge pattern, it's going to either make a decision to the upside and break out, or it's going to hit. So this is first hit, second hit, third hit, fourth hit. If it starts breaking this down sloping trend line or this up sloping trend line, then we could go even further. So it doesn't have a lot of indicators indicating that it's going to go higher yet, but if it can get above this resistance, then you get your next resistance at $22 or 22 cents.
Cool. What do you think, Drew? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Doge to the moon. But
if it can break.
If it can break, yeah, absolutely. It's got a long way to go. It's got, as Ben said, it's got some trend line issues there. Now, I just don't like the functionality or utility behind this coin. It's completely a euphoria type of move, and so there's not going to be a lot of investors piling in unless we're in a big crypto bull market, right? And in that case, man, this thing can run, as we've seen in the past. So that's what you're really hoping for and hoping to capitalize on for a really continued move up on Doge. We need to see a bigger, we need to see Bitcoin pushing new highs. We need to see XRP pushing new highs. We need to see Avalanche pushing new highs. A lot of these alts that have really just been kind of, left to the side and forgotten. Yep. Yeah. I mean, a lot of them have a tremendous amount of room to run once we really get that euphoria running again.
I will say it is holding this longer term trend line quite nicely.
Mm-hmm.
So it could start making a breakout. But again, you have these couple resistance levels that you're working through.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. James says, what is the downside? What's the case for a downside move in Bitcoin?
What do you mean? Like the case, what could cause it?
What's the case? Like what would, what's the bearish case for Bitcoin?
Well, it's a number of different things. Yes, we do have easing of tensions in Iran. But should Iran do covert, should any geopolitical tensions rise up, that's going to shock the markets. Now, Bitcoin has kind of been teetering over the past couple months on being less of a risk asset. As the S&P 500, when it was hit in April, Bitcoin was hit hard in April too. But I expected a little bit more downside on Bitcoin. Bitcoin held strong on the recovery back up. So Bitcoin's still a risk asset. If we have geopolitical tensions arise again, that certainly could knock Bitcoin. Tariffs coming through recently could knock Bitcoin. The Bitcoin dominance has been probably a highlight on. The altcoins are almost left behind. A lot of those altcoins need to be picked up, and some of those investors will be exiting Bitcoin to get into it. But I see, our debt being a major issue, and since Bitcoin's still a risk asset, that all ties into the rest of the markets too, where we're getting ourselves exposed to high debt, high interest payments. And with this being a risk asset, it's not going to go as far as it could if we didn't have those issues facing us. What about you, Ben? What do you got to say for that?
I just follow the charts. Right now, we've got this broken upsloping trend line. So that indicates that there's further downside, kind of like the other charts that we were describing to you guys, where you have a break of downsloping trend lines and we have the opportunity for a higher move. So if we start breaking this downsloping trend line, then we're going to go higher. If the S&P 500 starts to roll over, you gotta understand that there's a lot of people who have ETFs in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I think Solana now. If the stock market starts to crash, one of the first things that people who aren't like Bitcoin maxis, they're going to start selling everything. They don't really care if it's an ETF of Bitcoin long or if it's Ethereum long. They're just going to start dumping all of it. So we need a big correction in the stock market in order for us to get a bigger correction in Bitcoin. And I think it'll take the ETFs to really start crashing before Bitcoin starts selling off pretty heavily. That's just what I think.
Cool. All right. So we have about 8 minutes left. I'm going to throw to you guys one pretty final question. And if we have time, we'll keep going. But so both of you can answer this. And a couple of people are asking about this. They're asking about Litecoin. So the first question on Litecoin says, any analysis for Litecoin? I'm looking for a longer opportunity. And the other person is saying, Wilfredo saying, greetings. I've been holding Litecoin since 2019. What are your thoughts?
Nice.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, if you've been holding since 2019, you probably don't need my analysis on this. Look, there's always opportunities to get out of trades and then back into them, out of trades, back into them. Every once in a while, you're going to miss out on these huge runs, but really it depends on like, what is your overall sentiment with Litecoin? Do you like it? Are you planning on holding on to it for forever and ever? Are you looking to enter it to then end up selling a little bit, dollar cost averaging, getting your average down? Like, it really depends on, again, goes back to your strategy. It also depends on the position size, right? So if you're in 2019, did you get in at $30 and then it got up to 144 and you didn't take any off? And then you saw it go up to 416 bucks and now you're holding on to it here. I don't know where you're at for that. Either way, it looks like you should still be pretty close to your break even on this. And if you've held it this long, I mean, why not just hold on to it for a longer period of time? As long as you can break this downsloping trend line, I think we went over this last time, downsloping trend line, you can push higher. Yeah. Doesn't mean you can't add to the position and then say, all right, well, I've got half the position I want, so I'm going to average in here and then remove that half when it gets up to this double top, right? 140 bucks. So again, it really depends on your strategy. This is a good level. This seems like a good level at $86. Can it go lower? Absolutely. Could go down to $75 and then could even head back down to 63 bucks. Yeah. So there's a couple different opportunities for you to dollar cost average in. But overall, it looks like it's starting to at least start to break above this downsloping trend line. So that's positive news for Litecoin.
Yeah, I like that trend line you have that's breaking out there on Litecoin. Litecoin also was putting in that inverse head and shoulders pattern too, but it just wasn't. It was negated with the recent price action breaking, but it's still a positive looking coin at the moment. I definitely still like it. Like, what would be the target? Like, since 400 was already hit, what would be the goal? I'm a little.
Yeah, what is it that you're looking to achieve? I mean, it was already up to 400 bucks, right? You had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
600% return on your investment.
I mean, the other question was looking for an opportunity for a long. So, I mean, from what it sounds like, this could be a good opportunity anyways, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, look at this long-term trend line. Another coin that did this was XRP before its pretty nice euphoric run. You've got these long-term trend lines. This goes back to 2018, hits again in 2020, and then 2022. So the longer back a trend line goes, the more support it's going to provide. So as long as you're staying above this this upsloping trend line, Litecoin looks great. Now, is it going to go back up to $400? I think Bitcoin is going to have to go up to probably 200,000, just based on the charts, and or we're going to have a lot more money inflow into the altcoins.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, but I think there's a good shot of it going back up to 100. A really good shot about that.
Yep.
All right, we have 4 minutes left, 3 minutes left. I'm gonna throw you one final question from Martin, and this is gonna be a speed round. You don't, and we're not gonna need your charts for this, so we just need our pretty faces. Martin says, "Do you guys think it's best to wait until crypto is considered to be a safe haven asset before trading, or does it not matter? What would it take in order for crypto to become a safe haven asset?"
More regulation would be required to make crypto more of a safe haven asset. You want to have these accounts backed up by the federal banks.
Yep.
You want to have, just like what you have for regular banks. What is it? $250,000 FDIC backed. So you want to, that then crypto will be a safe haven. You know, I think we're not anywhere near that as we know, with different exchanges being hacked. But go ahead, Ben. Yeah,
that's it. I think that's which it really sounds funny. Crypto was the concept of crypto is the lack of regulation, but what's going to get it mainstream is the regulation, and that's just.
I mean, and is it best to wait until it's a safe haven asset before trading it, or is it okay to trade it now?
Well, people have been trading it since its inception, so
we also trade it, and the purpose of the show is to trade it.
So,
the purpose of the show is to trade it anyways.
But, we just look at the charts, right? When regulation happens, then maybe we get a huge influx, but the question is then which coins are the ones you're going to run to? You know, the ones that are FDIC insured, or is the entire altcoin market going to just pop it in addition with Bitcoin? I don't know.
Yeah, good question. As far as like a safe haven, I think that phrase needs to be defined. Is it like, are you trying to say like, is a safe haven going to be gold? Because I don't think Bitcoin will ever be gold. It may be a digital gold, but gold is something that, you know, being physical, it's been around here on this planet for millennia that we've used. It's not going anywhere for future millennia unless we can artificially create it like lab-grown diamonds. Then you'll have less interest in it. But that I would say that would be the only safe haven. But even that, gold fluctuates in price too. So there's really nothing that's a safe haven per se.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, great question. Great answers, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, my name is Lawton Ho. I'm joined by Benjamin Poole and Drew Dosek, and we're live every single Monday from 11:30 to 12:15. In 15 minutes, I'm going to go live for an AMA where I answer all of your questions about crypto and stocks. So we're going to do this again in 15 minutes without these two beautiful guys. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for Blowfin for sponsoring us. If you want to trade like us, check out Blowfin. All right.
That's right.